So I'm going to be looking a little bit on the other side of it. So once you reach out to your users on social networks or marketing efforts and they arrive on your website, what kind of tactics can you do in terms of CRO to try and get those users to convert, whether it's buy something, submit the application for a lead, or even just give you the email address? And traditionally, CRO's always been seen as A/B testing. And has everyone been familiar with A/B testing or even tried it at some point? So for those who haven't, it's simple. You have your website, you hypothesize a question, you test a different variation on your page or your website. So half users will see the original, half will see a different treatment. And you collect your data and you can figure out whether or not any changes to your website will actually lead to an increase in purchases or conversions or whatever it is that you're measuring. So a little bit of background for those of you who aren't familiar with myself. I'm William, I graduated from UQ, UQ representative, 2015. So I've been in CRO for about four years now, doing testing, research, strategizing. So I've been doing that for 4 years. UX is pretty much at the core of everything what I do. So my approach to conversion optimization is always user first. What are they looking for? What are their pain points? What are their frustrations? And what can we as marketers do to talk to them and try and convince them to give us what we want? And that's pretty much the opening point that you should always think about when you're running any CRO program, which is understand your users. And this is often the first thing that gets missed anytime you're trying to do a CRO program. So you need to make sure that you understand who your users are, understand what they're looking for in your service or product, understand what benefits they can get out of your product or service that they would want to use. So specifically, do your research first. And at U&Co, what we do is we take part in user surveys, we do heat mapping, we do data analysis, we do everything to lift up the hood of our clients' websites and their users to understand a little bit more about what they're looking for. And I'll dive into a little bit of what that looks like in a bit. So a little bit of background of the client I'm about to show you. This client of ours, they're a project management system, online project management system. If you've ever used Asana or if you use Pro Workflow, those kind of systems. And we went through a rebrand late July, early August. And throughout this rebrand, we need to think about exactly what they were looking for, what we wanted to tell them, and what information they needed to know before they converted. And what we identified was if we take users who are out on the home page as a landing page, take them to a featured tour page where we tell them all about the great things our client software could do, tell them all about the great features they could learn, and then guide them through to a child page where they can dive in deeper on exactly what feature would appeal to them most, and ultimately convert on the other side. And this is an example of the page. Can't really see it too well, but that kind of proves my point about understanding the user around what they're looking for. And part of what the rebrand had and what we tried to speak to the user was a methodology called jobs to be done. Has everyone had any exposure to the jobs to be done methodology or tried it before? Great, a few people. But for those of you who haven't done it before, essentially what it is understand the solutions, the problems first around what users are trying to solve in their day-to-day lives, and then come up with solutions or the jobs and tasks that they can do through your system in order to alleviate the problems and pain points. And then what we've done on this page, I can't really see too well, but we broke up the client's features and aspects of the program into 4 distinct areas of jobs to be done. So how they can actually interact with the system and solve their problems. Now, speaking about the problems, what I jumped in when I looked at this page was, I did some research. I looked at the data, I did some qualitative research around heat mapping. So you can see here, heat mapping, we use a tool called Lucky Orange. Some of you may use Hotjar or even VWO research analysis programs. But when I looked at this page, what's sort of like the one thing that's sort of speaking out to you now? You see that heat map. This is where people are clicking through.
Only activity at the top.
Exactly. There's a lot of activity at the top, and it trails down and almost drops to almost nothing as you get to the page. And all these juicy little features that we've built out on the bottom of the page, users were interacting with them. These are almost half the features, half the jobs to be done that we wanted users to understand. They were interacting with it. Were they clicking through on the above part of the website? Probably you can see a lot of activity here, but why weren't they clicking through here? Especially understanding profitability and getting paid, which is, as marketers, you think that's the one thing that people care about, making more money. And from a data perspective, so I looked at Google Analytics, so doing a full data analysis on there. I found that people were clicking through from the parent page, this page, to a subsequent child link page. That interaction rate dropped by 27% since the rebrand. And going from the rebrand, the site changed a little bit. And what my question was what changes to the website were made, and what can we do to alleviate, understand what the users were looking for on this page? Like a 27% drop was something that was on my radar to bring back up. So one of the most important things before you do any CRO test or any research is your question. So how many people have actually created a hypothesis at some point in their lives? And a hypothesis is something that you should always think about because it's a question that you want answered. And everyone probably has had some different way of writing a hypothesis. A simple way of doing it is, if I make this change, this will happen on the other side. That's always a question you need to think about before you jump into your test. So my hypothesis was this. If I can give the users a better review of everything that our client's product could do by utilizing an easy to sort through method, because I saw in my research that people weren't clicking through or navigating the elements further down the page, I'll see an increase in product page click-throughs because their users will be able to see all the features available at once rather than having to scroll through, try to find what they want, or even just jumping into an early feature that may appeal to them at the first, but something down the bottom would have been better for them. So keep this question in mind because we're going to jump into it a little bit later. So the most exciting part about an A/B test is trialing a solution. So at YNC, what we look for is we go through a wireframe design development phase, and what you're seeing here is a second phase of a finished polished design of what it looked for. The first variant that I employed here was looking at a more compact grid style. And the main thing here is we think about a user's viewport. If a user's viewport is about, in the size of the laptop here, is about 700 pixels high, how much can we cram to that 700 pixel view space to give users as much information as they can? So if they scroll down 2 or 3 times, they'll probably be able to see most of the things on the page rather than having to scroll through a massive listing. And the second variant was taking that to a little bit more of an extreme, and you can see here what I employed was a navigation on the left-hand side, which had all the features of the program listed out in one single view. So anyone who jumped on this page, and they saw every feature available to them, and they could scroll through here and see that, would that be able to give them what they wanted? And this is a side-by-side view here as well. Original, first variant, second variant. So, quick poll. Out of these 3, who thinks the original was the one that won? No one. A lot of faith in me. Variant 1. Nice. Variant 2. Bit of a split. So, I ran this. So this test ran for about 3 weeks before I decided to close it off. And typically you want to run a test for 4 weeks. Can anyone hazard a guess as to why you want 4 weeks to run a test?
To make sure I got enough data to begin with.
And the main thing is seasonality on that as well. Because someone arriving on the first day of the month, the first week, is going to behave a little bit differently to the person who first arrived on, say, like towards the end of the month. If we think about business processes, first week of the month, they may be doing something else the last week of the month. So 4 weeks is always what I want to look for. But I closed this one early. Why?
Had enough data.
I had enough data straight away. And for anyone familiar with statistics, p-value. Does everyone understand how important the p-value is or what it stands for? Essentially what it is, it tells you if
the relationship between the 2 things you test are actually like cause and effect and not affected by random chance, right?
Exactly. Random chance is the biggest thing, and that's what the p-value is important for. And if you've done any testing in any like testing software like Optimisation, BWO, they tend to use a term called statistical significance, which is exactly what the p-value is. Is this test results due to the fact that we've made a proper increase and better design for the users, or is it random chance? And random chance is pretty important because anyone coming in your website can do anything. Maybe trying to fill out a lead and boom, their internet cut out and they can't fulfill that lead. That's a job. Or you've been filling out late at night and your kids have come in to pull you away from your computer. That's a random thing that can happen and it's outside of your control. So run it to enough time, run it through to enough users, and you can kind of eliminate the chance of that happening and affecting the results. And what we found was at about 1,000 people through each variation, which is great. 1,000 people is a good number to run off with. And we had these conversions over here. So control, 147 conversions. Variant 1, 188. It's looking pretty good. Variant 2, 263 conversions off the back of that. Now our primary goal here was people clicking through from the parent to the child page. This is another pitfall people tend to do in conversion rate optimization, which is track a goal that's further along the funnel. If you're testing here, and you're measuring a goal here, there's so many steps in between that can factor in whether or not they're converted, you're not getting a proper outcome on the other side. So track, test on something that you can actually measure, which is people clicking through from your particular page. And we did that. Both variations were significant. And I mean, a 50% increase in conversion rate isn't too shy, if I do say so myself. But we did measure at the end of the day, okay, did this actually have an effect on people signing up for a free trial, which was the end goal funnel, the end goal that we want people to do. And yeah, 15% increase with a p-value of 0.263. So what that means is about 74% chance perhaps that this was due to random chance. So we need to think about that as a bit of a cost benefit or risk analysis, right? We are looking at the first part, which was our funnel. Homepage, tour page, child page. And if we increase the rate at which people go from the tour page to the child page, the rest of the conversions will buff up as a result. But we do know that had an impact on the results, which is really good. So win-win overall. We got more people clicking through the child page, more people converting, happy client. Now let's circle back to our original research question. The question we were asking at the start was, if users are given a better overview of the features by utilizing easy to sort through layout, we'll see an increase in product page click-throughs because users are able to view and compare features much more easily. Who here thinks we didn't answer that question? Great, because that was my question at the start. I felt like I answered this question, and we employed this pretty much the next day. We got the results, sent the report over. It's running live on the website right now. So we've tested, tracked, and tagged, and it's now released into the wild. And so after about a month or two, we can come back and check, okay, what's the conversion rate like? But based off our small little data set running to all users coming through this page, I'm pretty confident that this is going to increase their bottom of line solutions here. But yeah, some of the things we learned, and this is one of the things that people also skip in the process of running a test, which is, it doesn't matter what the results are. It doesn't really matter too much about that percent increase you get at the end, or whether or not you're turning a profit because of a little change you made to the page. It's what have you learned about your users? And one thing we've really learned about our users during this test was, and they want to see everything up front. And if we think about the type of users that come to this page, it's a project management software. Type of clients are probably B2B. We're dealing with people in their business trying to figure out what they want to run the project management software. Time poor, probably don't have the attention span during their day to sort through a massive listing a page. So let's just give them everything they need up front. That's what they want to know. And by doing this, letting them click through the page, letting them find out what they want, we're making things easier for the user, which would cause them to want to convert with us. And that's pretty much my case study for today. So thank you very much for listening to me. Any questions?